Hey guys, it's Atlantean Vampire, and I've been thinking about this occult notion of know thyself. I have no idea where it comes from. In fact, I don't know if it comes from the right-hand path, left-hand path, light working, darkness, black magician, baby witch, I don't know. But I've heard it over the years, know thyself, know thine self. And didn't really do anything for me, didn't care about it, until I, reflected upon it in regards to kind of a recent experience slash experiences, right? Where I did psychedelics for the first time in my life. I did a hard drug. Congratulations. I did mushrooms. A lot of them, like multiple chocolate bars worth. And yeah, I just how do I put this? As long as I've been doing ritual, I have been able to do, and it takes a lot of discipline that I don't have, so the occasions have been very rare, but I've been able to reach states of, how do I put it, very, like, I don't know, psychedelic travel, so to speak. Or I've gained insights and all sorts of things where my brain literally just squirts out DMT and whatever other thing. Like, I've experienced things to where people describe what DMT is like, or what mushrooms are like, or what peyote is like. And, especially with like the higher levels of hallucination with mushrooms, I've experienced that through the discipline of ritual. And unlike people that have this like profound experience that's only profound when they're doing it, this is something to where it's like earned, and because it's earned, it lasts, and it imparts life-changing wisdom. Whereas, doing mushrooms, doing drugs is, I don't know, just a way to, I guess, fry your dopamine receptors more than they already are. Like, it's only profound while it's in your system, and then afterwards, you're just like, oh, well, what did I really do with my life in that time that I did that drug? Nothing. Absolutely goddamn nothing. Anyways, yeah, I've always valued my lucidity, so you could say I've been very conservative and prudish, which prude is, that's more of a, being anti-sexual. What does that have to do with drugs? I don't know, but you understand what I'm trying to say. I like control, and I think this could be down to trauma. It could be down to a lot of different things, maybe personality. But I think that's definitely a key aspect of vampirism, where, we like to have control, not necessarily over other people, but over ourselves. Our whole goal is to, how do I put it? I'll say how we're not a part of source, right? But a friend of mine brought up the distinction, well, you're still part of the eternity. You partake in the eternity and are eternal, even if you're not of source. Yes, I guess this is true, but part of the eternity is running away from the uneternity. It's about trying to survive. It's about eternally feeding, right? So there's some form of control and consistency you have to have within this chaotic existence of vampirism, of being an astral vampire. So there's definitely there's an element where you have to be tactical and cold and decisive and cunning and all sorts of things. So I think there's a value of lucidity because, I think everyone that is connected to source has this thing in the back of their mind where they know that, okay, if things don't go well for me and the worst happens, there is still always going to be a part of me that exists. Whereas I know that if I don't do things exactly the right fucking way, then there is a chance that there will be nothing at all. So I think a lot of us kind of wrestle with control, right? So control is a big thing. So, I mean, alcohol, I'm not saying that people that are psychic vampires or astral vampires don't do drugs. No, for sure. For sure. A lot of us smoke cigarettes. But I think that has more to do with anything other than vampirism. A lot of us drink, we're just like average everyday people. But, like part of me, I think, going sober for a year was just to know that I could, that I had control over the situation, which also, again, I think, yeah, you could say has less to do with the vampirism and more to do with my, genetic alcoholism. But there is also this element where it does, I think, apply to my vampirism, where, how do I put this? When you consume substances that alter the mind, it can inhibit and dampen ESP abilities and make it harder for you to feed on energy, right? And it's funny, drinking that pig's blood mixed with Angry Orchard and Saint Germain. That is weird because it fixes itself. Is it the blood is potent? It is filled with vital energy, and the alcohol does dampen my ability. And I will say, in that year of being sober, my vampiric feeding has been great. In the time I went 5 to 7 days without nicotine, the astral energy feeding was so potent, it felt like I was physically consuming other people's blood, even though it was their energy and it was inside my stomach. And I didn't feel the need to eat food, right? So I am doing nicotine right now, and I'm just such a better astral vampire without nicotine. But yeah, it's like the alcohol dampens my ability, but I'm drinking alcohol with blood. So that fixes itself. I don't need to be spiritual. And here's the thing, it's been what, a couple of days since I last drink that blood, right? However long ago that video was posted. And maybe it was yesterday or the day before, I don't remember. But yeah, I feel like I would have been hungry and been feeding by now. I'm still satiated from drinking that blood and alcohol out of that jar. Very satiated, and I want to see how long this satiation lasts. So I'm intentionally not feeding just to test the waters, so to speak. Because it'd be nice if I found a method in which I could just not feed for a while and just enjoy myself. That would be good. It'd certainly make up for the psychic dampening substances. But yeah, I think there is a very strong argument for a link between vampiric empowerment and lucidity, sobriety, from everything. I think that's very important. Like honestly, the best drug, in my opinion, better than um, anything, better than alcohol, better than sex, better than I like indica, marijuana, better than even mushrooms, in my opinion, is lamb's blood, right? I remember shooting those two lambs in the head and drinking their blood out of a mason jar, and the adrenochrome inside of it. I didn't believe in adrenochrome or any of those conspiracy theories before I tried that. Before I was like, that's QAnon bullshit. That's just cancerous, like, mumbo jumbo that hurts people. But I remember I sipped out of that jar of blood, and this only works if it's from a baby mammal and it's within the first 3 days, ideally the first day. You sip on that, just a little sip of that, and oh Lord, like, it felt better than the best sex I've ever had, felt better than everything. It was better than the best food, the best, like, I don't know, I don't know, the best blanket, I guess, the most coziest bed I've ever slept on. It was just great. It was like, anything I like, video games, anything. It was perfect. It was perfect, and it didn't really, how do I put it, alter my perception of things. Like, it altered the perception, but it didn't, like, distort reality into something unknowable. In fact, its effect was I felt one with everything. I felt grounded. The closest I'll probably ever get to being connected to source, but it makes you feel one with your environment. Life makes sense. All of the bad stuff, like my traumas, my PTSD, it was like I was in the Greek realm of Elysium, and all of the bad stuff was gone, and all of the good stuff in my life was enhanced, and it just felt like my birth, my life, my death, everything was worth it, and I felt one with God. and it was just so perfect, which is why I'm convinced that the apples of Idun or the Vedic Soma, among other things, the Fountain of Youth, I think it's all, or the Philosopher's Stone, it's all a metaphor for drinking baby animal blood. Like that's the food of the gods. That's what we would offer to the gods. It is quite literally the elixir of immortality and joy. But yeah, no, my depression was gone. It was just such a wonderful experience. Like honestly, if I could, sell all my possessions just for the opportunity to drink a sip of baby lamb blood, day of the slaughter, every day for the rest of my life, I wouldn't need to own anything. Like if people felt this feeling of satiation, vampire or not, there would be no wars in the world. People would love each other and there'd be no wars. It's like what we say about marijuana, except it's better than marijuana. It just brings you a sense of life. You feel alive and you feel much younger. You feel like a child. It's wonderful. And you also, at the same time, you feel like you're on top of the world. It gives you this very stoic demeanor, right? And it enhances your lucidity. Like it wakes you up. And it's hard not to laugh at people because you see the way they're living and the way they're thinking and where their mind's at. And then when you get the rare privilege of having your mind go through this, right? Um, Everything seems pathetic. It seems beneath you, and there is a lowering of empathy. There's a heightening of empathy, ironically enough. Like two things in this instance are true at once, where your empathy for everything is high because you feel like you're a part of everything, but you see that no one else is on that level where you're at, even though it's such a simple means of getting there. It's such a simple universal ingredient that ideally should be easy for everyone to get. And the fact that you're initiated, the fact that you're in this experience feeling this and no one else is, it's hard to not think of people as beneath you, or at the very least laugh at a joke that no one else is aware of, right? On the most harmless level. But it is pure joy. It is pure bliss. And when I say, oh, vampirism and drinking blood and vital energy has nothing to do with sexual stuff, I don't understand why people. Well, again, I'm not even contradicting that. I'm saying that it's better than sex, right? It's not sexual. The sexual is gone. There's just it's a better sensation. It's more than orgasmic. It is something else. It is great. It is wonderful. Um, and that's not even heightened by the being an astral vampire. Like this is an experience that I've met people that do the primal diet. Anyone that goes in the primal diet and tries like baby piglet or baby veal, baby lamb, they trip out. It's a very potent experience. It's a very psychoactive, and it's just better. You don't feel the jitters, right? You don't feel anything other than what you're supposed to feel. Life feels worth it. Things just make sense. You're like, I'm here. There's nothing else. You're just like, I'm here, and it's wonderful. I remember um, sipping this for the first time in my life. This baby lamb blood, after from these lambs I slaughtered, and I went to work, a miserable job at Walmart, one of the best days of my life. Just one of the best days of my life. Now, as a source of reference, there was a day I had at Walmart that was so bad, where the customers were abusing me, where my coworkers were abusing me, where my team leads were abusing me. Everything that could have went wrong went wrong. This was quite a few years ago. It was like 3 years ago, and I went home crying and wanted to hang myself. I legitimately wanted. I looked at my rope and was thinking, maybe I should tie a noose and go Robin Williams. And I didn't, because I'm stronger than that. But it was so dehumanizing that day, right? And I thought to myself, there is never going to be a day worse than that. However, the second day after the slaughter, I sipped the blood again, and I was just like, and like I felt this amazing feeling, right? And that day at Walmart, objectively, you know, was, I'd say, 3 times worse than that day that made me want to hang myself. It was one of the worst days of my goddamn life. It was so fucking ruthlessly dehumanizing. I had two of my coworkers say that they were actually contemplating literal suicide because of how bad it was. Like, you have no idea how some Walmarts treat their workers in the conditions they put them in. And I gotta say, after coming home with that blood still in my system, one of the best days of my life. It was amazing. It was one of the best days of my life. And I'm convinced, honestly, if people tried, if you have like severe anxiety and depression and you drink baby animal blood, you won't need like, I'm not saying you, like, this isn't mental advice, but I'm just saying try it and you'll realize that there is no drug on earth that is potent enough to cure depression and anxiety like baby animal blood can. It's just the best. There's nothing better than it, and I think the thing is, there is so much of a capitalist mindset with pharmaceuticals actively trying to work towards commodifying other people's suffering, that since blood is something that can be given for free, or at least, easily out of pocket, you can buy an animal from a farm auction and kill it, or get a syringe and keep it alive, and until it grows up and then slaughter it. But either way, it's such an easy to acquire ingredient that there is no actual financial incentive for psychologists, for doctors, for scientists to actually do clinical research trials as to whether or not baby animal blood could be used as an antidepressant and a way to fix damaged neural pathways in the brain. They'll never do that because they can't make an industry off of that. If it's in the realm of FDA stuff like that, like the benefits of raw milk and how it fixes your microgut biome, they have no pharmaceutical incentives. Raw milk is easy to get, whereas these hard drugs are harder to get, and there's a lot of money to be made in their manufacturing and production, especially with the insurance payouts and things like that. Even if there is the potential to acquire objective proof proving me right or wrong, they'll never do that because there's no incentive. They're capitalist. They're more vampire than me. And they drain your blood. They drain the blood of the earth. His money is the blood of the earth. But, yeah, I digress. My point is, though, blood is definitely a very potent resource. And, honestly, I just had to mention that in this video, like, baby animal blood. I'm convinced there wouldn't be suicides. I legitimately think if people drink baby animal blood, people wouldn't kill themselves. I know that's a radical opinion, but honestly, given like the dehumanizing experience I had at that Walmart and how objectively horrible it was, I thought to myself, honestly, I could just drink this and go through that every day and it wouldn't affect my mental health whatsoever. I could objectively know it's bad, but I can still be in nirvana. I could be in paradise, right? And I honestly also think that the reason why drinking blood is a taboo in most mainstream religions, whether right hand path or Abrahamic, is because when you drink blood, you understand what life is really about. So especially for Christianity, right? Most people go to church because internally they're hungry for what humans naturally eat in nature. They're hungry for raw flesh, raw organs, brains, blood, raw fat, things like that. And, our body is giving us these feelings of existential dread because we are naturally predators and we need to eat the food that actually heals us and gives us a proper sense of well-being. And instead, society and religion has taught us that this feeling of existential dread, our body crying for help, saying, "You're starving me to death. Please feed me raw flesh. This is what I need to eat." Religion teaches you, see, that's God telling you to come to me, right? Or come to us, right? Come home. And they'll still feel the existential dread. I'm convinced that if people exchange the blood of Christ from the Eucharist with baby lamb, baby veal, baby piglet blood, people wouldn't need religion. Like, religions, for the most part, either wouldn't exist or they wouldn't be mainstream. You know, I'm legitimately convinced that the main way Islam and the Roman Catholic Church and all these different religious groups, even the Mormons, I'm convinced that the reason why they have hundreds of thousands of even millions of members globally is because they tell people not to drink blood. If people drink baby animal blood, they would realize what life's all about, and they wouldn't need a religion. They'd be happy. So yeah, that goes way beyond vampirism. That's just being human. And yeah, I mean, no, and it makes you look younger, by the way. That's an entirely different video, but I thought that was worth mentioning. I mean, that's why it's the food of the elites, because the elites want to be happy, and they don't want you to be happy. So, how do I put this? We have so many negative things about the elites. We think, oh, they drink blood, they're horrible. And because they're horrible, we shouldn't drink blood because that's evil. Rather, to me, that's like saying the elites are super happy and joyful, and they don't want us to be happy and joyful. And because they're happy and joyful and they're evil, being miserable is the right thing to do. That's how that translates to me. It's like Anton LaVey being like, Christians, they shower. I'm not going to shower. In fact, I'm going to take pride in how offensive my smell is to people. Whereas you have Michael W. Ford being like, yeah, Christians shower. I'm going to shower too. They shower for God. I shower because I am a God. Well, not to put words in his mouth, but I'm sure if he saw this, he'd probably be like, oh, that's actually pretty reasonable assessment, my good sir. But here I am sounding like a Luciferian. I'm not. I'm actually a collectivist, but that's neither here nor there. Point is, I definitely know myself when I'm drinking blood. Know thyself. But yeah, no, the pig's blood is an adult pig, and it's frozen, so it's not really fresh. So it does taste good mixed with alcohol. But yeah, and I'll also say, when you drink baby animal blood, the ESP is enhanced. But yeah, I think that's something that anyone, astral vampire, elemental vampire, just fucking drink baby cow blood, baby pig, baby whatever, except human. Don't do that. Or I'll find you and I'll take you. But yeah, no.